All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being so patient with me this week and last week. Thank you for those of you who've helped cover the class for me. There are no words to really go to show how much I appreciate how much you all have worked hard in this course so far. So I figured I'd give you all a break today and just pre-record a lesson for you all that we'll go through in class today and watch because there are some terms in here that are a bit difficult to say. So I wanted to alleviate that pressure from all of you all. So as normal, we're going to start with our bell ringer today. So it asks, what are some organisms that you associate with the ocean? And how do you think they will survive in salt water? So take a few moments to answer this question in the chat. I'm going to pause the video here so that you all can answer this. All right, so now that we've gotten some responses in the chat, thank you all so much for answering. And we're going to go ahead and proceed. So, looking at our agenda today, we're going to briefly go through our procedures and announcements. We're going to continue with looking at aquatic biomes in our mini lesson before spending some time in Canvas. Just as a reminder, we do want to be sure we're joining class with our cameras on. So I need every single person to turn their camera on. You can put it in privacy mode, but we should have every camera on as we are going through our class today. Once you get to your breakout rooms, it's fine to turn them off then. But as of right now, during our mini lesson, we need all the cameras on. If you're experiencing any device issues, please be sure you're reaching out to the help desk for support so that we can assist you with correcting the issue or getting you a new device. Looking at our announcements on Friday, we're going to have Fade First Friday and we're going to be operating on a modified schedule. So I'm going to see you all a little bit earlier in the day from 11:45 to 12:30. If you need help with signing up for a session with Fade First Fridays, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to drop the link in the chat, and you all should start to see those events appear on your calendars very soon. And speaking of Friday, it is the end of our 9 weeks grading period, so all grades going to be due by Friday for progress reports, as well as for that flex attendance reporting. So if flex attendance is something that you are aiming for this year, we definitely want to be sure that we get those grades in before Friday. But overall, we just want a good progress report. So get your assignments turned in and get caught up. So as we do look at our assignments and due dates, we do have 2 assignments to complete this week. We have our 02.06b terrestrial biomes quiz, review of what we covered last week, and then we have our 02.07a aquatic biomes quiz due this Friday, and that's everything we're talking about this week. So as we're looking at our ecosystem unit, our standard is S7L4D, where we ask questions to gather and synthesize information from multiple sources to differentiate between Earth's major terrestrial biomes and aquatic ecosystems. Our learning target is I can explain the differences of aquatic biomes. So let's get started today. We're looking at aquatic biomes. So our goal of the lesson is to identify those characteristics of aquatic biomes. So first up are the wetlands. And wetlands are regions that are wet for all or most of the year. They're found in regions that lie between land masses and water. Other names for wetlands include things like swamps, bogs, and fens. So if you've ever been down in New Orleans, you've probably seen some of the swamps there. Wetlands are fertile ecosystems, but only plants that are adapted to waterlogged soil can survive there. And that's because of the conditions of them consistently being wet year long. And most plants, too much moisture can cause them to die. So they have to have plants that are adapted to that system there. Some wetland animals include things like beavers, muskrats, alligators, and the endangered bog turtle. Wetlands was once considered to be useless, disease-ridden places. Many were drained and destroyed to make roads, farmlands, shopping centers, and housing developments. But only recently have people begun to understand the importance of the wetlands. Products that come from wetlands include things like fish, shellfish, cranberries, and plants, which are all valuable resources. Now, many developers are restoring wetlands, and in most states, access to lands through wetlands is prohibited. Next, we're going to transition to talk about some of our saltwater biomes. About 95% of the water on the surface of the earth contains high concentrations of various salts. The amount of dissolved salts in water is called the salinity, and saltwater biomes include things like our oceans, coral reefs, and estuaries. Marine algae supply much of the world's oxygen supply and take in huge amounts of atmospheric carbon dioxide. The evaporation of the seawater provides rainwater for the land. The open ocean or the pelagic zone consists of everything in the ocean outside of the coastal areas. Scientists divide the ocean into different life zones based on the depth in which sunlight penetrates the water. And we're going to talk about each of those. First up is our epipelagic zone. This zone is best known to humans, where people can easily go scuba diving and many marine animals are found. This area is packed with ocean life because of the sunlight that penetrates the surface. We have the mesopelagic zone. This is known as the twilight zone. And the mesopelagic zone meets the epipelagic zone above and becomes very dark as depth increases. Animals that produce bioluminescence or light inhabit this zone, so they tend to, for lack of better words, glow in the dark. Because nutrients are limited here, some animals rise to the epipelagic zone at night for food, and many animals in the subzone can eat animals larger than themselves because they are equipped with large, sharp teeth with expandable jaws and stomachs. Then we have the bathypelagic zone. Animals living in the bathypelagic zone rely on detritus for food or eating other animals in this zone. And detritus is just waste or debris of any kind. At this depth and pressure, the animals most commonly found here are fish, mollusks, crustaceans, and jellyfish. Sperm whales will hunt at these depths on occasion to prey on giant squid. Black and red are predominant colors of animals here, and any bioluminescence is usually blue since red is not visible at these depths. The most common mollusk in the bathypelagic zone is the vampire squid, which is an animal that can turn itself inside out and uses spiky tentacles to deter predators or capture prey. The abyssopelagic zone is where very few organisms adapt to survive, and it is a subzone located from 4,000 meters to the bottom with freezing temperatures and incredibly high pressures. Animals of the abyssopelagic zone include basket stars, sea pigs, and sea spiders. And here you can see some of those sea pigs. So if you ever wonder what a sea pig looks like, this is it. An interesting creature, I must say. So, deeper than the abyssal-pelagic zone are the canyons and submarine trenches of the hadopelagic zone. Animals capable of living at these depths include some species of squid, such as the deep water squid and octopus. And this is about as far as we can go down in the ocean. So, as we wrap up today, our target is I can explain the differences of aquatic biomes. Today, we're going to be working on our activities with the focus on our terrestrial biomes quiz, as well as our aquatic biomes quiz. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop those in the chat for me, and I will be more than happy to answer those individually.